Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to First Cut. This is our spoiler breakdown of the new Jordan Peele film, Nope, which is out in theaters right now, so make sure you guys check that out. I'm here with RB3, here to break down the film, this wild Universal Pictures IMAX shot film directed by Jordan Peele. First things first, we got to break down a little bit of what we as a First Cut community feel about Jordan Peele, RB3, because you and I have been on the Jordan Peele hype train since day one. Obviously with Get Out, obviously the Key and Peele shorts, but with Get Out and with us breaking it down, doing video by video, obsessing over this filmmaker. We love his films. And I'm going to start things out, man, just because I feel like I got to do it. I feel like Nope is another home run. I feel like he did it again. I feel like he's Steph Curry with the shot. Like, he just keeps hitting these threes. And he just did it again with Nope. It's another tension-filled, crazy horror film. And I personally am kind of surprised at the reaction of it when it comes to, like, people breaking it down on YouTube and the internet and Twitter and all this stuff. Because to me, I feel like Jordan Peele is just, like, not to be reckoned with. Not to be messed with at all, because Nope is just another killer. What do you think of this film, man?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this film, man. I really dug it. First time I watched it, because I've watched it twice now. I saw it the Thursday it came out, and I saw it today right before we recorded this review. So the first time I saw it, I definitely really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. I just left with a little bit, like, kind of unsure, you know. I think the film left me wanting a little bit when I first saw it. But that being said, I was intrigued by everything that it has set up, so I really was insistent on seeing it again. I think after seeing it the second time around, I fully have come to enjoy this film for everything that it's saying and everything that it's trying to do. And I honestly think it is one of Jordan Peele's better films that he's only made 3. So out of the 3 films that he's made, it's definitely in the top tier of those 3 films. And I think he excels in switching up genres each time, because the first Get Out was more of a thriller. Second movie is more of a thriller. I'd almost argue more on the comedic side. The second film, Us, is more of like a psychological horror, with the tenant, I don't want to say tenants, the people who are copying them. And obviously with this one, it's tethered. There we go. Thank you. I don't know why I lost that word. I literally also have the Us screenplay right in front of me, by the way, and I have a Us book back there. So I'm a big fan of Jordan Peele, as you have alluded to. And then also, and with this movie, it was a very sci-fi Western kind of vibe, mixed in with obviously a lot of elements of horror, which Jordan Peele thrives at. But he uses all of these genres in succession to tell an overall deep social message story, which I didn't really think about. The first time I watched this movie, I couldn't really piece together what this movie was really about, what it was really trying to say. I kind of had an idea, but after the second time around, I've kind of not fully, because I'm not sure if I could get fully into the genius mind of Jordan Peele, but I think I have a better, fuller understanding of what the overall message he's trying to communicate.
It's a lot, right? It's dense. It's a dense film. For such a simple film, it's so dense when it comes to a retrospective, because I feel like that's what it is with Jordan Peele films, is that in retrospective is when you really start to analyze the film and you start to realize what it's really about after you finished it. But as you're watching it and while you're experiencing it, you're just like, I just want these people to survive. That's it. That's all I care about. Like, to me, it's more about a horror angle when it comes to that aspect. But when it comes to every single Jordan Peele film I've seen so far, this one is like way scarier than anything I've seen so far. I was on the edge of my seat, terrified watching this movie versus Us and Get Out. Not really. I was more just kind of intrigued by the story. But this one, I genuinely was afraid of that giant ass jean jacket jellyfish looking mother effer just like trying to eat people. Like that scared the crap out of me. Like, I was like, please don't eat Keke Palmer. Please don't eat Daniel Kaluuya. And please don't eat homeboy from Fry's Electronics. I don't want any of them to get eaten,
Right.
bro. Like, these are the homies. Like, just peace. Peace be with them. Peace. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time because I felt like one of them has to go. And obviously we're getting into spoilers by the as you can hear from what I'm saying. But having that tension of like this creature's trying to eat you is horrifying, especially when you know what it's capable of in the previous scenes before leading up to it. So it kind of hypes up the power of this beast that is flying in the sky that looks like a UFO. But seeing them try to chase down this image of it and trying to chase down this video of it while at the same time avoiding getting eaten is thrilling, exciting, engaging, horrifying, just like emotional, bro. That final shot of the film, and I know I'm getting right to it, but the final shot of the film with Keke Palmer kind of breaking down got me. Like, it got me. Like, I felt all the emotions. I was on the verge of tears, just like Keke was in that film, because I felt like everything she was feeling in that moment as far as like conquering this otherworldly supernatural being, and just kind of standing up against this crazy natural phenomenon that has never been done before. I felt it all, man. I felt like Jordan Peele delivered all that. And to me, I think that maybe that's why I'm a little bit bummed out by, I don't know if it's the confusion or the mixed reviews or all that kind of stuff. Have you gotten into that, man? Have you heard anything when it comes to that stuff?
Well, I haven't. So I've been avoiding all the reviews and everything because I knew, for one, we're gonna do this video, and for two, I'm actually gonna be self-plugging. I'm gonna be on the Rotten Tomato show this coming up week. Their show called After Show, I guess, and we're gonna be talking about Nope. So I really wanted to prepare mentally for that and not be unoriginal. So I haven't really looked at a lot of criticisms, but I've talked to people I talk to. Pretty much all have the same kind of not criticisms, but confusion. A little bit of the head scratching, and it all really comes down to the Stephen Yeun storyline.
Yeah, everyone's confused. Yeah,
right. It really all comes down to the Stephen Yeun storyline of Gordy, right, in that TV show, and a lot of people felt like that was an unresolved storyline. And then when I first walked out of the movie, I really felt like did they just forget about that whole thing? Did that whole character just get washed, or what was actually the point of that? But upon second watch, it was a significant subplot that was disconnected from the overall main arc, but it was so entrenched into the theme of the movie that when I watched it the second time, I can't see, like, it makes perfect sense now, because that whole Gordy storyline where we see the young Stephen Yeun, he's playing a child actor who gets famous from another movie called Kid Sheriff, but he is playing on a TV show called Gordy's Home. And in this TV show, the chimpanzee that plays Gordy, one of the chimpanzees, goes crazy over hearing a balloon pop, and just goes absolutely insane. Now, I think this is such a fascinating, it's such a fascinating like deconstruction of what the overall film is about, is because, it's about animal exploitation. It's about animal abuse, and like when animals enter into that primalistic alpha dog mentality that the alien appears to be, right? And most sci-fi films, the alien ship is just a saucer where the little people are inside, but in this film, the saucer is the actual animal in itself. So that connection between Gordy being that primate animal, how the exploitation of that animal led to the traumatic incident for Stephen Yeun's character Jupiter. So when he builds up Jupiter claim, he ends up, he's banking on nostalgia from his other movie, but he's keeping this deep, dark secret of himself in the closet for, to be milked and exploited. So it really dives into a lot of deep issues of, media exploitation, what goes too far, the consequences of, being overly into media, being overly obsessed with capturing the perfect shot, and how we see the cinematographer dude, he ends up completely not only messes up, sacrificing himself, but also messes up the entire plan and messes up the entire capture of amazing footage that they got. So it's very, very deep. I really, after really deeply thinking about it, I really come to enjoy it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so much there, right? Obviously, I feel like it's all kind of held together by Daniel Kaluuya and his character, Vojay.
Right.
I feel like he is kind of the rock in the film. When you have Keke being the personality and the heart, but he's the rock when it comes to the center of the film, kind of holding it all together when it comes to dealing with this creature, and when it comes to trying to figure out what to do. And I really like that scene where they're trying to figure out what to do. Like, do we run away? Do we just neglect everything? Like, that's the most logical thing to do when it comes to situations that are above our pay grade, when it comes to, you know, this natural phenomenon that's coming to attack us. But at the same time, like, he felt this responsibility when it comes to his farm and when it comes to his legacy and his family name and his damn horses. Like, he just didn't want to let that go. And at the same time, he said, you know what? Why not capitalize on this when I have the opportunity to do so, when it comes to getting this shot, when it comes to documenting this footage? And then the way Angel breaks it down later on in the film, when he says, if anything, this is a warning. This is an evidence. We're collecting evidence to clear our names and to really let people know what it is that's we're dealing with here in this situation when it comes to the loss of those 40 people in that town or in that show. I felt like it made sense, right? Because at first I was like, what are y'all doing? This is stupid. Just leave. This thing is disgusting and it eats people. But then it started to make more and more sense to me, the fact that he just didn't want to leave his farm, his horses, his name in the dirt and just let it all go behind. And I felt that. And I was like, man, to me, that makes sense. Like, he really wanted to just be like, I'm going to conquer this beast. I'm going to do it. And just seeing that in his eyes, in Daniel Kaluuya's eyes, when he's riding that horse and he's trying to like tame the damn thing by not looking at it, and then kind of like, but still kind of looking at it halfway. And I'm just like, bro, it's really intense and it's really well done, well directed. And I felt that emotional appeal in that character, in both of their characters, to be honest. I thought Keke and Daniel Kaluuya's characters were... I can't believe anyone coming out of that movie and not being connected to them. Because to me, I was just so connected to their characters.
Yeah, the character work that's done on this movie is absolutely next level. And that's really the part that I really, when I first saw it, like when I saw both times, really loved about it, like overall, because there's such different dichotomies. And like you said, the OJ is more of like the Rock. He's more very stoic. He's very tight wound. He's not a man of many words, whereas Keke Palmer's character Emerald is very expressive, very loud, very energetic, and it's such a fun dynamic, because you can see like sometimes, you know, OJ just kind of wants to tell her like, yo, chill, like be quiet, like you're messing up the business right now. And other times you could quietly tell like he kind of enjoys having his sister around, like he enjoys that company, because when in the beginning, when we get that first scene with him and his dad, with Keith David, you know, they have a somewhat of a good relationship, but you could tell there's a little bit of kind of that father and son, like, oh, I'm looking forward to you taking over the business for me one day. So that's why when OJ, you know, decides to stay at the farm all this time around, and there's multiple times where he says like, look, what dad built, you know, we can't build, you know, that can't be replaceable. He was making Hollywood history, and he wants to be a part of that Hollywood history too. So I just really applaud that, like, commitment to family, to dedication, to all that, especially when it's, you know, that dichotomy of somebody like their family who is kind of scraping by and making entertainment in an honest way in Hollywood. You have somebody like a Ricky Jupe, you know, who's Stevie Young's character, who's kind of milking every single piece of nostalgia that from his childhood that he can, while also exploiting and literally killing these horses that is getting sold to him by Dan Kaluuya's character. So it was really, really good stuff, and I really enjoyed how thorough the character work was.
Yeah, it's a weird balance between the understanding of nature, the understanding of animals and creatures as well, between the dichotomy of a Jupe and a OJ, who both of them technically want to do the same thing by the end of the film, right? Where OJ wants to capture it on film and Jupe wants to capture it with an audience, but at the same time, it's the way they go about it, right? Where Jupe is sacrificing these animals, but OJ refuses. He says, I'm going to do it with floaty, you know, whatever they're called, the floaty guys. and with fake outs and with, you know, plastic toys and with plastic horses, but I'm not using live horses. I'm not using live animals. That's cruelty. That's cruel. And it's almost like Steven Yeun's character didn't learn his lesson when it comes to Gordy back in his childhood of abusing these animals in these situations. You can't be doing that. And that's the first thing I said when I saw him baiting with that horse. I was like, bro, you didn't learn your lesson? What the hell, man? You can't be doing that to these poor damn horses. And it's almost like his brazenness was heard by Jean Jacket, and Jean Jacket just showed up and he's like, bet, you said you can tame me? Like, tame me, bro. And he came after him. So I really did feel that kind of blend of like, how do you conquer nature if you don't even know what nature is? And that's how OJ was able to do it, because he knew nature, he knew wildlife, he knew animals, he knew horses, and he knew how they act and how they react to being baited, to being broken in. And that's what gave him the ability to tame it, to conquer it, and then eventually Keke killing it at the end. I felt like that was a really cool way to talk about the importance of a relationship with animals and creatures, even if it is in dire situations where you do have to eventually fight back and kill the creature. Really, really cool stuff, man. Very Jaws inspired stuff, I feel.
Yeah, I was gonna say this was like and when you talk about the mixture of brilliant character work and the summer blockbuster action, there's no other comparison that I can make other than Jaws, right? Because we spend so much time with Jaws, we spend so much time in the boat. In this movie, we spend so much time in the house of just characters just talking to each other and getting to understand each other. Honestly, you know, I think that's another reason why I think some audiences were a little bit disappointed with this movie, because it just, at the end of the movie, it just kind of ends, right? Like, you know, they kill the alien, and then we have we get the shot of Keke, you know, she's crying, and then we see the reveal of Daniel Kaluuya's character still alive, and the very last shot is the still photo of the alien in the sky, right, eating up the thing, which I think was such a perfect mirror image of the very first shot of the movie, which is Gordy licking his palms and like covered in blood after he just had his whole demolishment. The last shot is with the alien, the still image of the alien being caught on frame. So it's like the two predators in their element, but I think the reason why people were disappointed is because people get so connected to Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's characters that they do want to see that payoff of do they get to be millionaires? Like, did they get some of that IMAX footage back? Like, did they is it like what character gratification did they get for those two? Because that's honestly what I kind of felt like was missing. It ended in like it ended at its climax and didn't really have like one more scene of resolution, which is very typical for a Jordan Peele movie. Like all the Jordan Peele movies literally end that way, with Get Out ending in the police car right when he gets away, and then same thing with Us with that last shot of the mother and the son looking at each other. But I definitely think that was what was missing in this movie. If we just had one more scene of like, oh, you guys are millionaires, or they become famous, or something, just something a little bit more like that, that's what would have made it a lot more crowd pleasing.
I think it's perfect, man. I think every Jordan Peele ending is perfect. And I think that Jordan Peele respects his audience enough to know that they'll get it. They see the paparazzi cameras at the end, and then they see Keke's face kind of proving that she's innocent and that she didn't, wasn't any part of this when it comes to the deaths of those people. And then seeing Daniel Kaluuya on the horse, confirming that he's still alive, seeing Angel confirming that he's still alive, gave me that 3-person resolution of like, okay, the homies are here, they're alive, people know it's real, people know that the picture is real now that she took the picture. Keke has this emotional ending of like brother and sister looking at each other moment, boom, end, nope. And I was like, hell yeah. To me, I thought that was like the perfect ending, especially with Keke getting the kill shot. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I heard people criticize this. I heard people got mad at it. But to me, I thought it was perfect. I was like, hell yeah. As soon as she was like pulling up the balloon and she was like, yo, this gonna fuck you up. This gonna fuck you up. And I was like, oh, like, yes, come on. Like, I felt that need for her to have that overcoming in that moment. And I felt that so much in my soul. That's why her emotion, after she was able to defeat it and kill it, to me, it was just a perfect encapsulation of conquering this emotional journey that she was going through, and this dire situation that they were all dealing with. I mean, obviously that house scene would have traumatized that house scene, bro. Like, I was seeing this movie through my fingers, bro. Like, dead ass, bro. Like, I was like this the whole time. Like, I could not deal with how horrifying this movie was. It's just absolutely terrifying. So for me, it just had the perfect conclusion, knowing that you can go dark, but you don't have to go so dark. Where I was convinced, like, in the beginning of the first act, that I was like, all right, all of them are going to die. This is probably how it's going to end. Or like at least two of them are going to die. Maybe Keke survives or something. But seeing them all survive, to me, was more satisfying. Way more satisfying.
I will say, like, as somebody who was watching Jordan Peele's movies and cares, obviously he cares a lot about his black characters. I do think it is funny that all of his movies end with all the black people always living, all of our main characters always living.
I love it.
I wonder, is that ever gonna like get too old at a certain point? Like, because
I don't know.
That to me was so. Like, because I'm almost like predicting it too. It was almost like a predictable factor. Because even with I know he just produced.
I thought for sure you didn't think one of them was gonna die.
No, and I think that's also because, like, that's also from me watching Candyman. I know he didn't direct Candyman. I know he was just a producer on it, but I can just help but watch Candyman and see every single person of color survive and every single white person die. I'm like, yo, this is predictable at this point. So with that, I was kind of like, and I'm not gonna lie. As soon as the hoist dude came in and he was like ready to help, I kind of knew he was gonna be the one to eat it.
I knew too,
because the way he was just talking, and then especially in the second watch, I was peeping. He takes some antidepressant pills right before they're about to start shooting the IMAX stuff. So he kind of had a death wish going into it to begin with. So it was kind of almost like self-congratulating, which is interesting. Like, that's also another interesting like angle that they attach to this movie too, right? How many people are in this Hollywood industry for just like self-congratulatory reasons, even to some extent, Emerald, who Keke Palmer's character, when they have that safety meeting in the beginning and she's just like kind of hawking her side businesses and stuff, like that really gets into Daniel Kaluuya's head, because he's like, yo fam, we're trying to sell these horses, like we're trying to get this right. And they had the whole incident that happened with Lucky. So overall, it was just really, really interesting to see how different characters navigate in the space and how much they're willing to exploit other things. Like with Jupe, going back to Jupe, he was willing to exploit the aliens so far as having his kids wearing alien costumes.
Yeah.
Before they even premiered the show, right? They were doing actual test runs of the show early on in the movie. They, he had dolls made. Like, Disney didn't even have dolls made for Baby Yoda when they first dropped The Mandalorian season 1, but he already had dolls made for when this alien show being presented. So he was literally plotting this out from day one, since the 6 months they first discovered it. So he's a milker through and through. He's somebody who's going to exploit things through and through.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I loved it, and I got to give another shout out to side character number one,
Alex.
Which is Angel.
Angel, yeah.
In Fry's Electronics.
Yeah. In Burbank. Fry's Electronics in Burbank.
Yeah. Freaking Latino brother in the film working at Fry's. I was like, all right, man, we got our one Latino homie working at Fry's Electronics and hooking it up with the camera setup. I love the addition of Fry's in this movie, man. I thought that was hysterical. I was laughing every time they went to Fry's. And seeing Homegirl from Euphoria and Fry's too.
Yeah,
I thought that was hysterical too.
That was funny, and I loved it. I love how this was really one of the first sci-fi westerns that I've seen set in like the real contemporary world, right?
Yeah.
Where they're actively using like Fry's Electronics, where they're eating Cheetos, where it feels very new and relevant, but also very classical Western in its music choices and in the setting. And speaking of that Jupiter's Claim area, if that I went to that promotional event for Nope a few weeks ago, where they invited me and Dorian for Geeks of Color out to that Jupiter's Claim area, and they actually built it out at Universal, which is like really cool. but that kind of like Old West kind of style theme park akin to like, you know, Knott's Berry Farm or something like that, or like Six Flags. It also feels very like, feels very new and fresh and like a different, it's different. Like everything, there's so much world building. You know, we talk a lot about world building. There's like so much world building that is from the details of Stephen Yeun's character, his character's backstory, the character of the location itself, how far away they are removed from Hollywood, because you don't really think about it, but they're literally like right down the street from LA, and there's multiple times they're like in the hood. Like there's one time they're eating tacos, like seemingly like in like LA. So it's just very, it's a very unique film that I almost can't think of anything else to compare it to.
Jordan Peele, man, that's his anime connection. And obviously a lot of people are talking about the Akira shot with the motorcycle slide that Keke does at the end. But Jordan Peele's anime love allows him to do what anime does best, and that is give you the surface level of the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the world that he creates. And that's why it kind of gets on my nerves when people watch his films, whether it's Us, whether it's Get Out, whether it's now Nope, who are like, oh, but how did the alien get there? Or what did the alien do afterwards? Or what happened to the cameras afterwards? Or how much money did they make at the end? Or what happened to Stephen Young's gorilla at the end? Or what happened to... And I'm just like, bro, like, who cares? Like, the movie is like, this is the tip of the iceberg. The movie is showing you just a piece of the world, and you get to expand in your own mind the rest of the world. And that's why, to me, the flashbacks made sense. The story structure made sense. The little pieces that he gives you made total sense to me. And I don't need to have every single thing explained to me where a scientist comes in his glasses and he's like, actually, this creature came from this system and this galaxy, and it came here and it eats this because it does. And I'm just like, bro, I don't need that. Like, this is what I need. I need just the tip of it, the story, and then how these two siblings are dealing with it. Like, to me, that's so much more fulfilling than a giant exposition chapter of whatever you want to hear about. But that's what so many audiences want. That's why they rate it so low, and that's kind of a bummer that audiences want to be dumbed down so much instead of just taking in what's there. What's there is just the alien trying to eat you, and that's it. And this is how to deal with it. So
yeah, well, yeah, it's alien trying to eat you in a TV monkey. You know, that's kind of disconnected. But
it is. But at the same time, it's connected because it
is connected.
It deals with that kind of, you know, idea of loosening control of something you don't even have control over in the first place, right? So to me, it made sense, and to me, I love that connection of like. Even in the trailer, it says it, the bad miracle, right? What does that mean when it comes to a bad miracle and a good miracle? And when it comes to connecting things that seem so above you, so much more powerful than you, how do you overcome that? How do you establish that? And that's why I love that Jordan Peele is able to talk about powerful, almost supernatural themes in a way that feels grounded, in a way that feels realistic, where a lot of people are talking about that Gordy flashback and talking about how whether it's a twist of fate that he survived that, or whether it's a twist of fate that he was connected to Gordy in that moment, and now it's a twist of fate that he's now in this situation with this creature, Jean Jacket, and what he's dealing with. I'm talking about Jupe, obviously. And then when it comes to Lucky, the horse, I saw a lot of people criticizing Lucky, being like, oh, why didn't he eat Lucky? Like, he had like 5 chances to eat him.
Lucky never looked up.
Lucky never looked up, but also it's like, yo, shit happens. Like, right. It's one of those situations where you have those moments where, just like a twist of fate that this happened to Jupe's character, it's a twist of fate that now he has Lucky in his side, and that's the perfect horse for the perfect moment. Like, sometimes that does happen. And I love that Jordan Peele is able to talk about those kind of things when it comes to these kind of movies, as far as like overcoming situations that seem to be just completely overmounting and just completely overwhelming, whether it's Get Out or whether it's Us, and how characters are able to do that. I think that's an awesome theme in all his movies.
Yeah, I think if people get confused about like things like that, like things of like, oh, why didn't Lucky get eaten? Oh, why didn't Jupe do this? Or why didn't like the IMAX camera do this? Like it all really comes more into play like when you watch it a second time around, because those are questions that Jordan, he's not a dumb guy. Like it's not like this is some like, you know, schluck who's like doing it off the street and has a bunch of plow holes. Like, no, there's detail in everything. They show you mad times, like Lucky, like Daniel Kaluuya is waving the flag in front of Lucky. He just won't look at it. Like, you know, people are, you know, trying to make Lucky do things. He just won't do it. It's only when he puts when the guy puts the reflective thing directly in front of Lucky, he reacts like that. But like the reason why he doesn't get captured is because the horse literally never looks up. All the other horses look up. All the other people look up, but he just never looks up. That's why he never gets eaten.
Yeah, man. I feel like this movie just delivered a lot, man. It delivered a lot, and I feel like it's definitely terrifying, disturbing, and scary at times. So it might not be for everyone, but I have a high recommendation on it. I highly recommend it. And I gotta give a shout out to this cast that just absolutely murdered everything they were in. I thought they killed it in every category.
Got to shout out the amazing cast. Also got to shout out the amazing cinematography from Hoyt van Hoytema, who was the DP for Tenet, Interstellar, Dunkirk, and Ad Astra, and now this. So like beautiful works. Beautiful, gorgeous movies. And also the music by Michael Abels.
Killed it.
I thought all the music around, from the horror aspects to the Western aspects, were really refreshing as well. So overall, yeah, this was one of the best movies. And like you said, that fear of the containment, that fear of the claustrophobia when they're inside of when people are getting sucked up inside a saucer, and you just see that thin little hallway that they're kind of getting shoved into. You know, there's fear, like, you know, they're like that kind of homage to like Carrie, almost, to where the raining blood over the house. There's a lot of great classic horror movie homages that are just perfect throughout this movie.
Yeah, it really is. And then I think Jordan Peele is I think he's 3 for 3, man. I really do.
Oh, definitely.
I think he's 3 for 3, and I think he's one of the best directors working now. I think the stuff that he does is so unique and so different and so original. You know, we just saw that it made $44 million over the weekend. One of the highest when it comes to R-rated grossing movies, R-rated movies, and when it comes to original R-rated movies, which is something that is so refreshing when it comes to movies nowadays, considering everything is now only IP, an IP that's been around for a while. So shout out to Jordan Peele, shout out to Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Brandon Perea. Shout out to him for when he started like wrapping himself in barbed wire. I was like,
oh yeah.
Yo, that was the most clutch thing I've ever seen anyone. I was like, that's so clutch. That's so clutch. Like, that's so
the
perfect.
alien really ate all of that up. And then, and that's what really, if you pay attention, that's the move that really unspilled the alien from being in saucer form and being the saucer form into really being into the full unexposed final form that it took. That's the move that did that.
That's probably the most gangster move in the movie. And it comes from like the side character. I was like, yo, that's gangster. That's a gangster move. I loved it. But yeah, really props to this movie. Props to Jordan Peele. I hope people give it a second watch to try and maybe understand everything that they maybe didn't catch the first time around. Even though Steven Yeun was only in it for a little bit, shout out to him. I think he's a great actor. I felt bad for him.
I almost think there could be a spinoff or
there could be
some sort of cross me. Also, there's one other thing I will say. After seeing it twice, there is a detail I'm a little shaky about. They go into this when Steven Yeun's telling his story about what happened to Gordy. He says there's a great SNL sketch called Bad Gordy where Chris Kattan is like reenacting like the stuff. I looked everywhere for I didn't know if it was a made up SNL sketch or if it was something they just like filmed recently as like promotion for the movie. But whatever it is, it just doesn't exist because I tried looking everywhere.
Oh, I think it's made up.
So it's clear it was made up. But I do think if they doing that, and you know NBC owns it like SNL, it would have been just a fun like little sketch to do like on YouTube or something as some promotional thing. But I don't know. I'm nitpicking at this point. But I do think like they told that story, and the first thing I did was look all over the YouTube, see if that was like a real sketch or something.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that was part of it for sure. But either way, guys, those were our thoughts on Nope. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. What did you think of the film? Give us your spoiler thoughts, your spoiler review. Who was your favorite in the cast? Who was the standout in this movie? Let us know all that good stuff in the comments down below. You can follow me at Squad Leader Ace. You can follow RB3 at Director RB3 on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure to follow us at First Cut TMO on Twitter and Instagram as well. We're going to be posting more content on there. Oh, and TikTok too. We're on TikTok now.
Oh, TikTok.
I keep forgetting that. But either way, guys, we're going to be on that. So make sure you guys subscribe to that good stuff. But either way, for the First Cut crew, we're going to be peacing out. So peace.